Hello there. It is Wednesday, December 3rd, and this is the afternoon shift. I'm adam-llorens.
I'm maxx-fuller. I'm not gonna lie. There was about 50 seconds left in our countdown.
Oh.
I realized I had no aliases. I just made these up.
Yeah.
I just made these up in the last 50 seconds.
Okay.
So we're working with it.
You're going with the flow. Okay.
Okay. Maxx-fuller, a.k.a.
Yeah.
Kimfro Slice.
Okay.
You ever heard of Kimbo Slice?
I have.
Back in the day.
Martial artist.
Yes. Legendary mixed martial artist. Started off fighting people in driveways.
Oh.
In people's front yards.
Okay.
And then went viral. I remember that was one of the first. That's one of the first YouTube kind of videos I remember. My cousin being like, "Look at this dude knocking people out in someone's garage," and then he turned into a legendary UFC figure.
Yeah.
So shout out to Kimbo Slice.
Yes.
R.I.P. to Kimbo Slice. I'm Kimfro Slice.
Yes.
AKA. So this is one I kept in the back pocket. It's almost too easy for situations like this. AKA Max Prescott.
Okay, Dak Prescott. We love Dak Prescott.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He's playing the Vikings next weekend.
He is.
Supposed to be on Sunday Night Football. We'll see if that gets flexed out.
I did some investigating.
Yeah.
I don't think it's getting flexed. Contrary to popular belief, I don't think it's getting flexed but there is a lot of options. There's a lot of good games that week.
Yes, that could the world could be exposed to Minnesota's problems next weekend. Yes. Dak's got a big game tomorrow night against the Lions, of course. So that's kind of an elimination game for the two teams.
Yeah, every game is the playoff game for the Lions and the Cowboys at this point because it's just a crazy NFC this year. AKA the Black Harvey Levin.
Okay,
I think that's the guy from TMZ.
Oh,
I think so.
Gotcha.
I don't know if that's his actual name.
They precede us on Fox 9.
They do.
Yes,
They do.
Yes.
Yeah, they open for us.
They're our
opener. You know what I'm saying? I think they got a bright future. Those TMZ
I would
guys.
say so. Yeah, they're on it. They're on it. Yes.
They are on
yes.
it. They used to be, disreputable.
But now
when they say something, because back after the whole Lil Wayne debacle several years ago, when they said that Lil Wayne had died, which is one of the worst 3 hours of my life. I don't even know if it was that long. It felt like it. And then that obviously proved to not be true. But ever since then, they've been spot on.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, infamously, perhaps dubiously, they were the first ones on the Kobe Bryant. I feel like I heard about Michael Jackson and Prince from them as well. So they're on it with that stuff. They obtain videos that no one else can obtain. So. They're a pretty good, damn good source these days.
If TMZ says it's true, it's true, and if the afternoon shift says it's true,
that's true.
It's also true.
That is very true.
Yes. It is a very jam-packed show that we've got here.
Yes, sir.
If you watched us yesterday, we were covering the Somali ICE story, and it's continuing to develop. At any moment now, there's going to be a press conference being held by Somali Americans and allies at the Brian Coyle Center in downtown Minneapolis to denounce the targeted deployment of ICE against Somali Americans. And coming up on the show today, we're going to be covering this at length here. We have somebody representing the CEO, actually, of Isroon. I believe I'm pronouncing that correct. It's a woman-led Somali organization, kind of a grassroots sort of thing, and an immigration attorney coming on during the 3 o'clock hour. So it'll be a lot more of this story coming up here on the show.
We got it covered wall to wall, and obviously, like you said, there's been a lot of stuff happening. President spoke about it, had some strong words, to put it lightly, about the entire situation, and now we're gonna hear what the community has to say in response here in just a short little bit.
That's right. So like I said, at any minute, that press conference, we will be bringing that to you live from the Brian Coyle Center in downtown Minneapolis. But until then, let's get into some headlines here. Maybe we could promote the Instagram account. I don't know if we promoted that yesterday.
Yeah, I don't think we promoted it yesterday.
Yeah, it's afternoon shift _ Fox 9.
Jinx, you owe me a soda, by the way.
I owe you a soda. How many followers are we up to?
We're at 268.
Okay.
268. So, it's
brick by brick.
Right.
Guys, I have something to report.
Yes.
Oh.
On our YouTube, we have someone who's saying hello from Germany. Alex from Germany. So global.
Hello.
Hey, guten Tag, my dog.
Gee.
What's up, man?
Yeah. What's going on?
What's up, dog? All the way out here in Germany?
Yeah.
Maybe I met him on my travels.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not gonna take credit for it though, but that's pretty dang
We need
cool,
some sauerkraut here, and
he's
some
also said,
beer.
listen, I get it. I've heard this before. It's a critique for sure. I got to think about our English as a second language viewers out there. Alex, who first he said hello from Germany, and then he said, I guess when you watch this in half the speed, you might understand something. Maybe I'm talking too fast for you, Alex. I apologize.
It's also, what is it, 10 o'clock over there? 9 o'clock? 10 o'clock? It's late.
It's a late night for
late.
sure. It's like 8, 9, 10, 11.
This
Maybe
is prime time.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe Alex had been to the pub or something
That's what
like
I'm saying,
that.
yes.
And, maybe it's affecting his hearing or something like that. So
yes.
we appreciate you, dog. You could have
Yeah,
been
he
doing
said
anything.
hello back. So
Hey!
Fantastic.
What's up, man? That's pretty dang cool, man.
I'm all in for German food, except for that hot dog, and they put this like ketchup-y deal on it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
forgot what it's called. It's
like
not
a,
my thing.
like a Frankfurter.
Yeah,
Frankfurter.
it's like a street meat sort of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It's not my thing.
Oh,
But
it's good.
I do like. I've been to Berlin twice. I like Berlin a lot. Twice.
I had no idea.
2 times.
Look at
2
that.
times,
You like
yes.
you'd say that you're like it's like your second home.
No, I wouldn't say that. But, I'm cool with the people of Germany.
What were you doing out there?
I was covering the Special Olympics World Games.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
at the big Olympic stadium there. It was nice. It was a
Sweet.
really good time over there.
Oh,
so
sweet. Well, maybe you met Alex somewhere along your travels.
maybe. Thank you, Alex. Thank you from Germany. And to all of our viewers coast to coast, not just here in Minnesota, we appreciate each one of you. We really do. Maybe Alex in Germany, because Bitcoin, that's a universal currency there. Maybe he's buying some Bitcoin. It's had a really of a roller coaster sort of week here.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like it was kind of up for a while and down. That seems to be the general trend of Bitcoin. And I don't. Is it? Are we on the up part of the ride right now, or are we on the down part of the ride? We got our hands in the air right now?
As of 30 minutes ago, it's up from 2% from where it was at 5 days ago, but on Monday it was down 8%. So it's actually gained 10 points over the last 48 hours. It's a lot of math, but it's up right now, but it was down and up. And
it's
crazy,
a big thing for a lot of people. I still don't fully understand it.
Neither do
I'm
I.
going to be totally honest. Maybe we could have a segment sometime just explaining what the hell Bitcoin is, because I think it's one of those things that we all it's become a part of our daily vernacular, vocabulary, but I think a lot of us are like, I don't really know what that means, but we're kind of too embarrassed to ask.
Yeah. I don't know much about it either. So it's interesting, but yeah, if you're an investor in Bitcoin, I guess you're kind of up right now. Hold on to your horses. So speaking of roller coasters, how about the Timberwolves and the Wild yesterday? Those were kind of roller coaster wins.
Yeah.
The Timberwolves kind of no business having the Pelicans hang around with them, but they did win, and that's all that matters in the NBA is that you won.
Anthony Edwards has been on an absolute tear.
Yes.
And, I mean, obviously, shouldn't have needed overtime to beat the worst team in the Western Conference.
Yes.
But still, a win is a win, and Anthony Edwards is putting up just on a historic run over the last 6 or 7 games or so. It's been 30-plus, 40-plus, 30-plus, 40-plus every single night, and he basically willed the Timberwolves to a win last night.
Yeah, they scored 149 points. They won 149 to 142 over New Orleans in overtime. The Wild were also on the road yesterday, and they beat the Edmonton Oilers. They were an underdog in that game. 1-0. You don't see a lot of 1-0 hockey scores these days. It's much more of an offensive game now. Yeah,
but you're seeing a lot more zero. It's like if you were computing, if you were doing some hacking or something, 0-0-1, 0-0-0-0-1, programming. That's what these Wild scores are starting to look like because of the Vol of St. Paul, Jasper Volstead, who's been absolutely, incredible. Yeah. He's been everything that you could have expected, and then some. The Wild might have the best goaltending pair in all of the NHL. This is an absolute incredible development. I think a lot of people had some high hopes. I don't know anybody thought that the highs were going to be this high when it came to the walls of St. Paul.
And we'll see you at the parade for both the Timberwolves and the Wild.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you'll be at both.
We can have them on the same day. We'll just take one right from Minneapolis to St. Paul, and the other one from St. Paul to Minneapolis.
That'd be pretty cool.
That would be pretty damn cool.
It would be cool.
That would be cool. I'm sure that's happened before. An NBA team and an NHL team winning, because that's
a very good question.
Because uniquely, almost every other sport ends at a completely different time.
Correct.
Of a parade for a World Series game would never interfere with anything else, though obviously a football game, but like the NBA and the NHL, it feels like they always kind of go into a silent battle of which can last the longest, you know, and the Stanley Cup final, not finals, people will get mad if you say finals, usually goes right around the same time as the NBA finals.
That's right.
So I'm curious if there's ever been a NBA and NHL.
If there's any fact checkers out there, I'm actually curious of this too. I would love to know that. So we'll find that out. We'll report back to you.
No.
It's never happened.
It's never happened.
Well, Minnesota's going to be the first.
There's been a few close calls. The closest example, the Rangers won the Stanley Cup in '94.
Yes.
The Knicks, obviously, one game away from winning the NBA Finals.
Yeah, they got interrupted by O.J. Simpson the next day. They did. It's true. That's true. No, listen. Any ways to bring up O.J. Simpson in the show? The FDA announced a shredded cheese recall in 31 states over metal fragments, including Minnesota.
Oh,
so do you have shredded cheese in your
I
fridge?
do have shredded cheese at the crib right now. What kind? Like what kind? Is it?
It's all sorts of brands. It's out there on the Fox 9 website. You can go check it out. Or we can call up our recall friend.
Yeah.
What was her name? She was great. She was great. We've had her on Thanksgiving and whatever. You don't want to be eating metal fragments in your shredded cheese.
Certainly not. And I feel like, again, I mean, I know this stuff happens all the time, but it just feels like we're hearing about it more.
Yeah.
Often. I don't like that.
No. Yeah. Yes. Grace. Yes.
Hey, so we're waiting for this press conference where we're going to hear from the community response on these ICE reportedly targeting Somalis in Minnesota. There's still no one at the podium. I can see they're getting set up. They have done a couple mic checks, so I see a couple people in the YouTube chat who are waiting for that, and that is coming up. We will take it right when it is ready.
Perfect. Grace, what do you say? Why don't we go to break here maybe, and then we can kind of come back and set the table? We're going to stick right here. We're going to stick right here. This is Fox 9. We got the news covered.
Yeah.
Especially these live press conferences.
Bringing you right up to it.
We're all covered with it. Just some factoids about the Somali story that I was kind of reading up on. There's 260,000 people of Somali descent living in the United States as of 2024. The largest population right here in the Twin Cities, 84,000 Somali residents. I mean, Max, you grew up here. I mean, this is something that it's part of life.
Absolutely. Shout out to all of our Somali neighbors and friends out there. They've been a part of the community. It's been a steady growing community ever since I was a little kid, and turned it was just like, it felt like obviously, some people move here and it's kind of like a thing where it's like, more family moves over here. And then eventually you have generations and generations of people that have been here for years, man. They're part of it. You cannot tell the story of Minnesota, of Minnesota's culture, of Minnesota's character without talking about our Somali residents, man. They're a huge part of Minnesota culture, Minnesota life, especially in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul, man. And it's amazing, and I feel lucky for us to have them. We're exposed to whole different kinds of culture, people that have lived all different kinds of lives, and I think it's cool that we're all kind of intersecting and interacting, man. And I can't even imagine what the feeling is like throughout the Somali community right now.
Yeah. One of my favorite segments that we've done on the show was the Hoyo Sambusa founder.
Yeah.
Came in, brought this. I had never heard of Sambusas before, brought the Sambusas in. I went to Midtown Global Market a couple months after that interview just to pick up Hoyo Sambusas.
For sure.
They were that good.
Yeah.
And it's just the story of it was fantastic, and all of it was really good. A lot of people think that Somali residents in Minnesota weren't born here. It's not true. Over half were born in the United States. And of the foreign-born Somalis in Minnesota, 87% are naturalized U.S. citizens. So we want to think that a lot of our Somali brothers and sisters have immigrated from Somalia. Over half were born here, just like you and I were born in this country. Yes,
that's what I'm saying. It's like it's a lot of the times these people have been over here for generations, man. And the fact that they have to deal with this stuff, even worry about this stuff, whether it actually comes to their doorstep or not, I'm sure everybody's going to know somebody that's affected by this. And the fact that you even have to worry about it is a damn shame, because they're citizens just like us, and they're part of this community just as much as me and you, if not more so. So it's truly a tragic situation, but I'm eager to hear what they have to say in response to everything that's going on.
Absolutely. The Minneapolis DFL House delegation put out a statement. I know we're going to go right to that press conference. We're going to bring you to the Brian Coyle Center right now in downtown Minneapolis. This is being held by Somali Americans and their allies in response to these ICE news about targeting Somali Americans. Let's go to the Brian Coyle Center.
All right, is everybody ready? I see. All right. I'll start. My name is Jaylani Hussein, Jaylani Hussein. I'm the Executive Director for the Council on American Islamic Relations. I start, first of all, to share with you my story. My family immigrated here to Minneapolis, to Minnesota in 1993. We immigrated on February 16th, one of the coldest days of that year, I think, or at least to me. And we came here where there wasn't really that many people of color. But Minnesota, what I have found in Minnesota is, as my father says, we came to a cold place, but we found people with warm hearts. And now, 30 plus years later, I'm as Minnesotan as you can get. In fact, I was in a deer stand not too long ago. I did not get deer. But today we're standing because my community, the Somali immigrant community, and our broader immigrant community is under assault. Part of me says that we are under assault because we exemplify what it is to be an immigrant in this country. Somali Americans are hard-working bus drivers, engineers, doctors. We do the jobs that many people don't want to do. And we are in both the urban core and in greater parts of the state. We are and have been in this country for a long time. In fact, overwhelmingly majority of our community is actually younger children who are born here in this great state of Minnesota. What President Trump and most of the public who are attacking our community is not aware of is the success of this great community. And I believe personally that is why we are being targeted, and that's why we're being attacked. And to my beloved Somali American community who now feel the breath and the weight of this federal government dawning upon us with ICE agents now traveling in different parts of our city, I speak to you to say, number one, know your rights. Be calm, collective. This moment will pass. And not only will it pass, but we will come out of this moment stronger, more resilient. And for the first time, we will be sharing our culture, our incredible hospitality, our hard work, and the stories that we have kept so long inside of Minnesota to the greater part of this nation. And not only our food and sambusas and all the other things that we have will become mainline, but it will show the resiliency of our state and our community. In this moment, it is understandable to be frustrated and in fear, but rest assured we are here to let you know that we will prevail. To President Trump and the base that is attacking our community, we understand that you are here to divide us, to create fear amongst us, and to selectively target the blackest immigrant and Muslim community in this great state. President Trump has had a history of targeting black people long before he ever ran for any office. And we know that the identity of who we are is part of the attack, and also as being Muslims and being immigrants. In fact, we know in our community we have some of the smallest number of undocumented Somali Americans. Majority of us are U.S. citizens, even a majority of even that born in the United States. What we see today that's happening in Minneapolis is the authoritarian nature of this government and acting as a third world nation by targeting lawful U.S. citizens. We should be ashamed of that. And we remind President Trump and the Republican leadership of this state and across the country, Somali Americans are not monolithic to any community. We vote for the Democratic Party, we vote for the Republican Party, and for the first time we saw a shift, not only in our community, but other communities who voted actually for President Trump. We want people to understand that our community is sophisticated, capable, and very smart. In fact, in this moment, we are calling upon our neighbors, those who we have built great relationship with, to speak up, to stand up, and to share to the rest of the country what it means to be a neighbor to a Somali American, to be taught by a Somali American, to be driven by a Somali American, and to live and see a world where Somali Americans are not just an asset, but an important asset to the future of this state and this country. I personally sit in this moment as President Trump continues to target us. And I see a moment of inspiration even in that vile hate toward our community. He is inspiring a generation of young people today who are on social media watching this and recognizing that his seat that he's sitting in as the President of the United States, he is inspiring a young Somali woman, a young Somali boy to become a President of the United States in near future. We are not a community that retreats. We are a community that leans in. We are a community that's civically engaged. We are a community that cares about our neighbors. And we are a community that believes in everything great about this nation. Not only do we serve in the Army and police departments, but we are part and parcel of everything that happens in the success of this great state and our country. This is a moment for all of us. And in this moment, we ask for everyone to show their humanity and to show love in the face of hate. And I know this moment will pass, but history will remind us of what we did in this moment, how we stood next to each other, and how we reminded each other of the best ideals. On a suburban cul-de-sac somewhere in the outskirts of this city resides 5 children who each could claim that their ancestors came from other parts of the world. But every single morning in this country, those 5 children ride on a school bus looking at each other as Americans, as friends, as neighbors. That is the America that we live in. That is the America we envision, and that is the America of today and tomorrow. Thank you. And now I have Senator Zainab.
Thank you, Brother Jaylani. Thank you, everybody, for being here. A couple of weeks ago, right-wing podcasters said Donald Trump should revoke temporary status for Somalis, 700 people across the country who are seeking refuge from famine and violence. So Trump did, and Republicans applauded or said nothing. Then Trump's agencies said they would be investigating false accusations connecting Somali citizens and terrorists. Again, Republicans cheered. Then we heard ICE agents would be coming to Minneapolis, where almost every Somali person living here is a citizen, many of us 2nd or 3rd generation. And again, Republicans either thanked him or said nothing. Yesterday, Donald Trump exposed what he really wants, what he really thinks, that Somalis are garbage. And that he does not want us here. That's dehumanizing and hateful language, and a direct threat to denaturalize and deport American citizens like myself. And where are the Republicans now? This morning, I emailed Republican leaders in the legislature and asked that they join us here, and that they speak out publicly or contact me directly and condemn what Donald Trump said about their fellow Minnesotans, their fellow citizens. So far, no response. My offer still stands. The actions taking place against Somalis in Minnesota include ICE, Border Patrol, the DEA, the DOJ, the Treasury Department, Homeland Security, the ATF, and the FBI. They are throwing the full weight of the federal government against a tiny population of people, maybe 80,000 in Minnesota and a couple 100,000 across the nation. We are a fraction of percent. Why us? Is it because we're tiny and most Americans don't know a Somali person? And he thinks he can get away with it? He can start with us, but it will not end with us. This is a defining moment in the history of the United States. We are a nation of immigrants and of rights, but only if we are brave enough to defend it. What we do now, collectively and individually, determines what kind of country we are. I'm asking every Minnesotan and every American to stand with us now and prove to the world, as we have many times before, that as a nation we are stronger than any authoritarian dictator. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jamal Osman. I am the council member for Ward 6, where we are, where a large East African community reside and call it home for the last 20, 30 years. Thousands of residents, many of them U.S. citizens, are living in fear of what the president has said and the threat that's coming from federal government. The fear is not abstract. It is felt in homes, in schools, in mosques, in the communities. Even my own daughters, who are 100% American, are asking, why us? Why are we getting singled out? No children should feel unsafe because of their skin, or their religion, or of the language of their grandparents spoke. What we're seeing right now that's coming from our president is not just politics, it's a dangerous act of othering a fellow American. History warned us that dividing citizens, us versus them, puts nations at risk. As a council member, my responsibility is to ensure that every resident, every immigrant, every refugee knows their rights, have access to resources. So I'm calling out to the entire Somali community in Minnesota. You're not alone. We're with you. You see behind us wonderful state legislators that came to your community, came to your doorsteps. We have seen many churches, many organizations, many Americans that do not look like stood beside us last few 48 hours or so. We are resilient. We know fear. We run away from fear. And now we're facing fear, and I know we can come over and get over this, and we will go through this. So, Mr. President, we are U.S. citizens. 98 plus of residents of Minnesota are U.S. citizens. Over 50% are born here. We are American, as you are. So let me change your perspective of Somali. I would like to invite you to Minneapolis. Put down the hamburger and come grab some sambusa, some chai tea. Come to Carmel Mall. It's a wonderful place. We contribute a lot to the culture, the music, the art. What makes Minneapolis and Minnesota wonderful? It's the Somali community, and we're here to stay. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Oreen Chowdhury. I'm the council member to the 12th Ward, and I am the chair of Intergovernmental Relations. And I'm also the eldest daughter of working class Bangladeshi immigrants. And my family, when they came to the cold state of Minnesota for the first time without their cultural foods, without the mosque that they grew up and felt welcome in, they found welcoming from our Somali community. Our Somali community opened doors to stores that had spices that allowed us to make the food that brought comfort, had established mosques where we could practice our faith in community with all of our neighbors, and then also grow our culture and share our culture here in the state of Minnesota. And today, our Somali community continues to share all they have to give with descendants of German ancestry, Norwegian ancestry, French Canadian ancestry, you name it. And that's what's truly Minnesotan. That's what Minneapolis truly is about, is this wonderful, amazing exchange of cultures and customs that I say makes our city the envy of all cities in the state of Minnesota. The fact that we have cultural corridors, events, markets, all this to give, that creates a very, very vibrant and unique mosaic in our state. And I stand before you today as our Somali, Latino, immigrant neighbors have been in the last few days, last few months, stalked, harassed, kidnapped with no due process, have had strange men with masks on their face enter their buildings without permission, wait outside of their schools, all in a way to break apart our communities and otherize us and take away the vibrancy that makes Minnesota and Minneapolis so strong and so unique, and also creates the economic engine of this state. I want to say, this is a moment for us all to use our voice to ensure that we do not pit each other against one another, to stand up for our Somali community, to share the amazing experiences that we have shared with one another as Minnesotans, and to also understand an attack on the Somali community is an attack on the Latino community, the Afghan community. Any person who wants to have liberty and freedom in our state and in our country. And what the president is seeking to do is weakening our nation and making a mockery of it in the world. To our communities, I want to encourage you to stay vigilant, stay in communication with one another, know your rights, share what rights are to your neighbors, make copies and carry any valid immigration documentation, and carry proof of citizenship if you have it, because we know that under this Trump regime, authoritarian regime and Supreme Court, they are targeting people based off of the language that they speak and the color of their skin. They are racial profiling. In the city of Minneapolis, we have a great resource, the Office of Immigrant Rights and Refugee Affairs. I encourage you to connect with them to know all of your rights and then also seek different resources, whether it's legal resources, other community networks. We have been working diligently to build that up as the city of Minneapolis. In Minneapolis, I want to remind everyone, we do have a separation ordinance in place that requires that no city employee, especially our police department, fire department, does not do the work of ICE and does not do immigration enforcement. And we are currently in the process to strengthen this to ensure that none of our city resources are used for the purposes of immigration enforcement, that our employees have ongoing training so they are aware that we are not going to be doing the work of ICE, and that there is strong reporting measures in place to understand if there are requests from the federal government or if actions do take place. The last thing that I will say is I'm not afraid, and I don't think you should be afraid either, because that's the purpose here. To create political theater, to strike fear in our communities, to divide us, to put us in different silos. But together, across communities of immigrants, whether you're a 7th generation Minnesotan with German heritage or a 1st generation Minnesotan from Bangladesh, or our vibrant Somali community, together we are much stronger. And they can try to tear apart our families, they can try to break our communities, but they're not breaking our spirit. They are trying to bury us, but they're forgetting that we are seeds, and we will continue to move forward. Next up, I will welcome Representative Aisha Gomez.
Thank you. My name is Aisha Gomez. I serve as the state representative for District 62A, which is South Minneapolis. I represent, and Representative Mahmoud and Senator Fateh represent a part of town that is being targeted by Trump's fascist troops. What we see is aggressive and divisive tactics being used on our streets. And so what's happening right now is that, our neighbors from the Somali community are being scapegoated. And this is something that happens throughout history, and that unfortunately, we've seen repeatedly in our country. It's a distraction tactic. It's designed to elicit fear and to sow division. And Southside's not standing for it. Not in our community, not on our streets, not in our city, not in our state. And so you heard a couple speakers talk about how important it is to know your rights in these moments. And it's important regardless of your immigration status to know your rights in these moments. Senator Mohammed talked about contacting Republican leadership today. Well, I'm old enough to remember when Republicans said that they cared about the Constitution. And so whether they have conveniently forgotten about that in this moment or not, that document still exists. And that document guarantees rights to people in this country, regardless of their immigration status. Because what's true is that if one person in our society doesn't have a civil right, it's not a civil right. If one person in our society is denied the right to due process, none of us have the right guaranteed under our Constitution to answer our accusers in a court of law. And so we have rights in our homes. We have rights as we walk down the streets. The first thing is that you don't have to answer your door to these people. You don't have to open your door. Your home is your home. Nobody can enter your home without a signed judicial warrant. You should know that ICE agents will lie to you. They will show up and they will try to gain entry to your home through deception, and they're allowed to do that. You do not have to answer anyone's questions. You do not have to submit to questioning without an attorney present. If you are detained by federal agents, say nothing, sign nothing, request an attorney. If you're in public, ask if you're free to leave. If they say yes, then leave. Don't share any private information with a federal agent if you're detained. Don't share your address. Don't share anybody's name that you're associated with. Ask if you're free to leave. If you are not, request an attorney and say nothing further, and do not sign any papers. Contact your consulate as soon as you are able if you're detained by federal agents. And then I want to talk just for a moment to people like me who are not impacted by this threat in the same way as our beloved Somali neighbors are, because we have an important role to play in this moment. I said, and I believe firmly, that ICE is not welcome on the streets of Minneapolis. They are certainly not welcome in the south side of Minneapolis, where they seem to be trying to take up residence right now. And so as somebody who's not directly impacted, I believe that it's my responsibility to show up and to communicate to them that they're not welcome here. And I'm willing to do that in any way necessary. And so I'm mostly just asking questions, making noise, letting my neighbors know. I have my whistle around my neck. A lot of people in the neighborhoods have these. If you hear a whistle in your community, go and check out what's happening. If you don't have a whistle, maybe you could get one. It's a way to communicate to people that there is an issue of concern happening in the streets. Don't be afraid to honk your horns if you see something happening. Don't be afraid to record. You have the right to record these activities. It's up to us in these moments, because what we know, you just read the news. Activities of this administration are being struck down in courts left, right, and center, right? They have no hesitation about engaging in illegal activities, and they'll just wait and fight it out in court, right? So there's lawlessness among us in that way. And so we know that these tactics are sometimes we need to come together and disrupt them. And so yeah, I just would say, we have to stay vigilant. We have to stand together, be there for your neighbors, learn what your rights are, share them around, have each other's phone numbers, and know that we have what we need to protect our communities in this time. And that history judges people about how they show up in these moments. In these moments of, authoritarianism being on the march, in these moments of fascism, in these moments where people in our community, beloved members of our community, are being scapegoated for a very specific reason, so that none of us pay attention to the fact that they want to cut tens of millions of people off health care so that the rich can have a tax cut, that they want to cut people off of food so the rich can have a tax cut. Okay, they don't want you to pay attention to the fact that, the billionaires are running our country. They want us to attack our neighbors. And we're not doing that. Thank you.
My name is Doran Clark, D-O-R-O-N Clark. I'm proud to be the senator of the Cedar Riverside neighborhood, and I'm proud to stand with my Somali neighbors, my Minnesotan neighbors, and say no, and to condemn these actions. The Somali community is part of what makes Minneapolis great, which makes Minnesota great, and which makes me proud to be the state senator for this district. Our neighbors, our Minnesotan friends, came here because they recognized the promise that is America, the promise that is Minnesota. And I stand with them, and I condemn these attacks, and I'm so proud and inspired by all of my neighbors who've stood up and said, not on my watch. We stand with our neighbors. We stand with New Americans. We stand with our Somali friends and neighbors and say, you are part of Minnesota. You are Minnesotan. You are an American. And I'm proud to be here in Cedar Riverside. I'm proud to be here in Ward 6. And I'm proud to say that, well, this community is Minnesota. This community is America. And I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. Also very proud to be here. My name is Scott Dibble, D-I-B-B-L-E. There's no R in my name anywhere. So good afternoon, and thank everyone for being here. We are here today speaking with one voice, as council members, as legislators from the Senate and the House, as DFLers, to call upon our Republican colleagues to join us in repudiating the hateful and racist comments made by their party's standard bearer, the president of our country, Donald Trump, when he referred to Somali Minnesotans and Congresswoman Ilhan Omar as garbage. I want to be absolutely clear, these comments do not exist in a vacuum. They are not simply political rhetoric. They are dehumanizing attacks aimed at an entire community of Minnesotans, our neighbors, our coworkers, our family members, our constituents, and our friends. And in Minnesota, we know all too well the consequences of dehumanizing rhetoric because we have lived that. We are still grieving the assassination of Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark, and the attempted assassination of our colleague, Senator John Hoffman, his wife Yvette, and their daughter Hope, acts carried out by an individual radicalized by exactly this kind of language. When leaders in power demonize and dehumanize, it is not metaphorical. It sets the stage, it gives permission, it lights a fuse, and it has to stop. I want to speak personally for just a moment. I'm an out LGBTQ legislator, and my community has been the target of violence, real physical violence, because of the exact same playbook of dehumanization. We have seen far-right elected officials call LGBTQ people threats, groomers, predators, abominations, and we have seen performers demonized. We have seen transgender youth and their families singled out and shamed. We've seen them fundraise off of our existence. And we've seen what happens after the words. Armed protesters outside of our gatherings, threats against our clinics, violence at Pride events, and of course the Pulse nightclub and the Colorado Springs massacres. Words have consequences, and dehumanization is the runway to violence. Decades of research make this plain. It erodes the moral inhibitions that usually prevent people from harming one another. It increases aggression, makes violence not only seem permissible, but justified. It has played a central role in history's worst atrocities, from the Tulsa massacre to the Holocaust to the Rwandan genocide. It harms mental health, causing fear, isolation, shame, and trauma, and it reinforces social hierarchies that deny people their rights, their dignity, and even their safety. So when the President of the United States calls Somali Minnesotans garbage, he is not simply trying to score political points. He is telling his followers explicitly and implicitly that these families, these workers, these students, these elders are less than human. And when leaders stay silent in the face of that message, they are sending a message of their own. As Mahatma Gandhi said, silence becomes cowardice when occasion demands speaking out the whole truth and acting accordingly. And Dr. King said the ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but silence of that by the good people. And this is one of those moments. Today, we call upon our Republican colleagues to stand up publicly and reject these racist and dehumanizing statements, not for us, not for political theater, because our state, Minnesota, and Somali people, our Minnesota, depends on it. Somali Minnesotans, you deserve to know that your elected officials see you as full human beings, that we will protect your dignity, that we will not tolerate language that places you at a greater risk of violence. Every elected official, every one of us, has a moral obligation to stop the slide toward dehumanization wherever it appears. We cannot claim to value safety or stability or the rule of law or even Minnesota's future if we are unwilling to confront the rhetoric that undermines all of those things. Robert F. Kennedy reminded us, each time a person stands up for an ideal or strikes out against injustice, they send forth a tiny ripple of hope. Well, let's start that ripple today. Let us show Minnesotans, especially those who are frightened, who are targeted, who are hurting, who are discouraged, that we are capable of moral courage. And to our Somali neighbors, and I should mention that I'm proud to represent Elliott Park along with Councilmember Osman, where many Somali friends live. To our Somali neighbors, we see you, we value you, you belong here, and we will stand up for you. Thank you. And I introduce our Senate President, Bobby Joe Champ.
Let me first say that I want to make it very clear that I stand with the Somali community because they are our community. And you know, I was thinking, because I heard so many great speeches already and really people laying out the reality of how important the Somali community is to Minnesota, but also how important the Somali community is across our wonderful nation. I thought about it, and here's the thing that I will say. My presence here today is because I represent the African American community, but also being the president of the Senate. We understand political violence, we understand violence against our communities, and so my presence here today is a demonstration and an act of love. Love is an action word. It's not one of those things that you say and you put it on the shelf, but you demonstrate love. And I'm standing here, as do others who are in the street and other places. They are demonstrating love. I believe that love drives out hate, but you got to be very intentional about it, because if you let hate reign supreme, then our young people and other people will believe and think that the sort of behavior and the words that we hear coming from Washington, D.C. are appropriate. I believe that light drives out darkness. And some people may say, oh, where do you get those things from? Well, you know, there's this little thing that I read that's called the Bible. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is because some people believe that it's okay to sell Bibles, but not read Bibles. And you know exactly who I'm talking about. You can see from time to time that the person has had a Bible in their hand and the Bible's been upside down, and that's how you can always tell that they're not reading it, because it's upside down. But you also know that they're not reading it is because if one's actions only speaks hatred against another person or another community, then that is not an act of love. And so I want not just the people who are standing behind me, but those that we've called out, the GOP, people in the African American community, people in all over, allies. It is important for us to speak up and be bold about it. Martin Luther King, I thank Senator Dibble for raising Martin Luther King, because one thing that he said is a threat to justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. But my favorite passage is when he says the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands at the time of convenience and comfort, but it is where he stands at the time of challenge and controversy. So we're going to be measured by this moment and whether we step into this moment and we do the things that we need to, because when one of us hurt, all of us hurt. When one of us is being attacked, we're all being attacked. So I want us to stand up, and I want us to speak out, and I want us to be bold. And I want us to be clear that we all are affected when just one of us are affected. We are linked together. We are joined together by our human spirit. And being connected by our human spirit means that if you move, I move. If someone's attacking you, they are attacking me. So I am here, and I want you to know that I'm going to do everything within my power to make sure that we protect our Somali community, our Latino community, any community, every community, because we are all members of the human race. And so I want to just thank my colleagues for standing, and now we are looking forward to our GOP members joining us. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. My name is Jamie Long. I am the House Democratic floor leader and a Minneapolis representative. I am proud to represent Somali Americans. I am proud that Somali Americans go to school with my kids. I am proud to have colleagues who are Somali Americans in the State House and the State Senate. I am proud to be represented in Congress by the first Somali American to ever go to that hallowed chamber. The only garbage that we are seeing in our community today are demonization and othering of our neighbors. The only people who should be leaving our community are the 100 federal law enforcement folks who were flown in for a political stunt and who are in our community now, arresting citizens and arresting people who are lawfully here. We are seeing these attacks on our state and our community, and so far I have not seen one state Republican elected official say anything back. In fact, I have seen folks like Lisa Damuth put out a tweet encouraging the president. I guess because she wants his endorsement when she's running for governor. We are here with our Somali neighbors because Minnesota is a welcoming place, because Somali Americans came here fleeing political violence, and now they are facing that here in our state. We welcomed the Somali community to Minnesota with open arms before, and we will hold out those arms to embrace the Somali community now, because they are not going anywhere and they are our neighbors.
Good afternoon. My name is Mahmoud Nur. I'm a state representative for this district, MOHAMUDNOOR. I know that our community is under attack right now. People are fearful. But let me tell you this. For some of you who have arrived to the state of Minnesota, the airport, the people who walk in while you're walking out of the airplane are East Africans, Somalis, who are getting that flight ready to go back. The ride that you took from the airport to the place that you are going probably had a Somali person bring you here. To the different places that you may go, to the hospitals that you may visit, you will see the doctors, the nurses. To the schools that you go, you will see the teachers. You see, this is not a unique story to anybody. We are through and through Americans like any other community. This place that we're in right now in Cedar Riverside has been called different names. This is not the first time that this community has been demonized. It has been called the no-go zone, the shithole, different names. This is not who we are. This is not who we are as Americans. Forget about being Minnesotans. We can't be looking people down when we feel that it's politically the right thing to do. We can't justify calling people garbage without getting a response from other people who are sitting around you. It's not justified to put communities in harm's way. As you've heard previously, our Speaker of the House, Melissa Hartman, and her husband were assassinated. And my friend, John Hoffman, and his wife, Yvette, and their daughter, Hope, are really going through the healing process after the assassination attempt. As you've heard from my colleagues, we can't justify words that will create harm. We can allow our colleagues on the other side to be sitting on the sideline when they know that this is going to create a harm to the community that lives right here. My 4 children live in this neighborhood. Our community is united. Our neighbors are standing with us. To you all, I want to let you know that we are all greater than fear. Thank you so much.
And with that, thank you to our leaders for being here. We'll take a few questions.
To the Somali American officials up there, what sort of impact does language like being called garbage by the President of the United States, what impact does that have on your community?
Thank you so much. First, my name is Omar Fateh. I'm the state senator representing Southside Minneapolis District 62. It's OMAR, FATEH. The term garbage is not only hurtful and shameful, but we know that, as our other colleagues mentioned, that language matters, and language leads to action. And that type of othering, that type of attack leads to political violence. We've seen our colleagues get attacked and murdered. And I appreciate what our allies and our elected officials, Jailani Hussein and Senator Champion, mentioned about the power and organizing around the Somali community. And this is happening because the Somali community has gained power. We are Uber drivers, we're bus drivers, doctors, lawyers, elected officials, and having community members stand up with us, especially those from the Black community that paved the way from us, is their sacrificing their lives back in the 60s and through the civil rights movement that allowed us to be where we're at today. You know, my father came here as an immigrant in 1963. I'm the son of immigrants from Somalia. And the year he came to America was the same year of that famous speech from George Wallace saying, segregation now, segregation forever. And what we're seeing right now is a repeat of that history coming back full circle. And as elected officials, as allies, as community members, as human beings, we're standing up against that.
Have there been any ICE operations or detainments today in the Somali neighborhoods that you know of?
So there's been a few abductions, I'll put it that way, and we've seen US citizens. It's not only undocumented individuals. We have seen that documentation of people who are here legally, who are being detained. And we've also seen an abduction that happened even in the parking lot across from here. That means they're not looking for specific individuals. They're targeting an entire community. Anybody who looks like me, whether you're Somali, Oromo, West African, or anyone who looks like me is now on the target list, unfortunately. And that's not how we do law enforcement. That is terrorizing communities. That is creating a narrative that does not exist. If those 2 individuals who were detained that didn't show up in Fox 9 News, who showed up with their cameras at that point, I don't know whether they'll have been picked up to Wilma or other places to be detained, for them just to verify who they are. That's where we are today. If they're looking for specific individuals, if it's a targeted process, we will have seen a different response. But this is not targeted response. This is a collective punishment.
And just to be clear, there were 2 today that happened. One of them was across the street from this facility.
I cannot speak of what has happened today, but that is what happened yesterday. But there's also a lot of folks who have seen them, followed them, to make sure that they are giving individuals their rights, to make sure that they're protected. There are folks who have stood up to make sure that telling people you don't have to answer any questions and helping them understand the impact of the raid that is happening throughout this week.
Is there information you can share about efforts in the Somali community or in Cedar Riverside to organize rapid response or training them and know your rights?
You can answer, but I just want to follow up. What's happening? ICE is here. They have been here since yesterday morning. I saw them myself last night, right here on Cedar Riverside, 3 SUV, about 45 minutes, going circles. White dudes with masks. That's what we saw. They are stopping the citizens. They knocked one door over there, right here in this building. I guess the person they were looking for wasn't there, so the neighbor opened the door, the right next door, opened the door because they hear the noise, and they were detained. They're like, "What's your documents?" So they're not discriminated. They just want to see who looks like Somali, and that's where they're coming. So they are there. And one thing I do want to share, they hate the media. They don't want to be seen. So go out there and chase them and take a picture. They don't like that. Once they saw a couple media came around, because I did call media, they drove off. They are out there. They are hiding. They are in the community and terrorizing them. So ICE is operating.
Do you know how many arrests there have been?
Well, in my community, Jelani can answer, but I heard plenty.
So right now, unfortunately, we just had a press conference this morning with the Immigrant Law Center and Advocates for Human Rights. These are organizations, obviously, that have been doing this work, supporting our immigrant community. We do not have an actual number, partially because even if someone is detained, we will not know that information for days. So the best indicator is the families. We did have some individuals reach out to us yesterday. There are still reports of people being detained and then being released, but that actual number is hard to tell at this moment. We are definitely know that as they are targeting the Somali American community, as others have said also, we are deeply concerned about the undocumented community, because our communities are intersected and living together in a lot of times and working together. So we're deeply concerned about that at this moment.
There was a question about organizing.
Yeah, so we already had existing infrastructure for rapid response. I think we are at a moment now where we did not expect this escalation this fast. So we are working. We just had a meeting last night. We're working with other organizations. We need to ramp up and provide a greater support. We're also asking the local media, as they share basic information about what people should know if they're needing help, and specifically the general public who are like, how do I help, or what do I do? And there's information about that. We will continue to provide updated information through all of our organizations, and we encourage the public to share that. There's a lot of opportunists on social media that are using this moment to try to send false information, to try to create more fear. We're encouraging the public to get as much information from credible sources and not to rely on bloggers, influencers, whether they're here or abroad, because there's a lot of people also pulling old videos of some things that have happened and trying to reignite that as something that is currently happening.
Can the elected officials in the room speak to what's been like trying to gather information about what's happening, both from federal authorities, but also from your communities, as you mentioned, trying to verify what's happening?
I mean, I would say I think our legislators are collectively all responding as much as they can to community concerns. We have been in communication with the governor's office, and he's trying to give us as much information as he has. ICE isn't giving any agency heads up across any jurisdiction, so we know that. We're also getting a lot of emails and contacts. I've had hundreds of calls and text messages since the article dropped yesterday, and I think one of the most important things is people want to know what they can do and how they can protect their immigrant neighbors. There have been building block captains, and so people are organizing in ways I haven't seen before around this issue.
So the reality is we're getting trickled down. Right now, as I speak to you, someone who was a patient, they dragged him out, and the nurse just sent me a text message saying that that individual who she was providing services was abducted right now as we speak. So that is the way we're getting information from our constituents, our friends, and across the state. So many of the individuals who are reaching out understand that we're going to be looking for resources for those individuals to make sure that their loved ones have gotten access to a legal process. So it's helpful to understand that those actions will lead to many folks reaching out to us. From the federal perspective, we will let other people who are at the federal level, from our senators, our congressional leaders, deal with the federal level.
Can you just go over the details of this immediate kidnapping of the person who was taken?
So we're getting messages as things are happening on the ground. And so the first rapid response, when people know that we are the elected officials, they'll be reaching to us to make sure that we can provide them with the immediate resources for families to track those individuals. One of the individuals who was abducted is now in Wilma. They were picked up from Minneapolis right here, and making sure that folks can follow them. They will not have discovered if they didn't know how to follow that through process. So we want to make sure that there's a way for their loved ones to know what is going to happen next.
In a Minneapolis hospital? Is that where you said?
It was in a medical setting that they were getting service, and they were abducted right now.
And I just want to touch on one thing also, that as elected officials, we're not just representing our communities. We are rooted in community. Folks are very well connected to community members. And so a lot of times we get information directly from people that are impacted. They have our cell phones, they have our emails, they know our family members. We're all connected to each other. And what we've heard and what we've seen is that not only have our immigrant communities been targeted, but a lot of the folks that have been detained and captured are folks that are U.S. citizens, people that are not only U.S. citizens, but born here, raised here. I've spoken to a lot of young folks that have said that they have to walk around now with their passports, even though they were born in America. They've never been to Somalia. Some of them, their parents were born here in America. And so I think that's a shame and that's unfortunate. But we've seen folks rally the troops, neighborhoods, organizing block by block. We've seen entire apartment buildings organized, forming WhatsApp group chats. And so what Representative Gomez said earlier today was exactly right, that we must stay united. We got to organize together. We got to get involved, join these group chats, these neighborhood group chats, whether it's text messages or WhatsApp. Are you going to get some of these annoying auntie forwarded chats, messages that are like chain messages? Probably, yeah, right? But at the same time, this is the best way in which we can combat this hate and combat this fear. There has been some false alarms because the level of anxiety is so high, and we're trying our best to not only disseminate information, but fact find and find out what's real, what's happening, what's not happening. But we're getting that information directly from community.
You mentioned earlier that the Republican representatives who sent an email and they're not responding to you. Would you say they are standing with Trump rather than with the community they represent?
Thank you for that question. I did send an email to our Republican leaders, both in the House and the Senate, asking them to not only condemn what Donald Trump said about the Somali community, but to come today and stand with us. I have not gotten a response. I look forward to their response if they ever want to respond, but we do know that in the past few weeks, they have been cheering what this president and this administration has been doing. They have sent letters to their federal Republican delegation telling them, good job, we want you to keep doing. And so I want an answer for their Somali constituents who are US citizens and whether they think that they are also garbage and they agree with Donald Trump or not.
This is for like one of the Somali community members. The allegations of the over $1 billion in fraud and a lot of that money being sent over to Somalia to terrorist organizations, and it's all rooting right here in Minneapolis. What's your response on that?
Well, first of all, most of these fraud is wrong, period. Anyone who commits crime against our community should be held accountable, period. It's been over 2 years. These cases have been handled by the FBI. The FBI has not made any allegations that any of these individuals send money abroad to a terrorist organization. We know that this alleged was used before as an effort to create this fear. But any crime that is committed by individuals should not be put on the entire community, and that is false and should not happen. And unfortunately, this is not new. We know that minority communities and communities of color are oftentimes criminalized through the actions of individuals, and this is unfair to our community, and unfortunately, none of those things have been substantiated at all. But crime like fraud is definitely something that impacts all of us, and we're going to do everything possible to ensure that our community responds to that. And so, with that said, our phones are blowing up. We are literally trying to figure out how to support our community in the best moment. So I really appreciate your time today and for covering this. Thank you.
You just watched a press conference that was held by Somali Americans and allies at the Brian Coyle Center in downtown Minneapolis to denounce the targeted deployment of ICE against Somali Americans.
Yeah, lots of powerful statements from all different aspects and different corners of the community here in Minneapolis, all coming together to speak out against everything we've been seeing in the news over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and just during that press conference, Mayor Jacob Frey signed an executive order prohibiting federal, state, and local agencies from using any city-owned parking lots, ramps, or garages, or vacant lots to stage civil immigration and enforcement operations. His story just keeps getting deeper, and we're gonna continue to follow it here on the afternoon shift and report on the latest.
For sure, breaking it down from every angle, and who better to talk to about this type of stuff than a lawyer?
Yeah, that's right. We have an immigration attorney on the line right now, Mark Prokush. Mark, you have been very patient with us. We appreciate your time, sir. Thank you for joining the afternoon shift. Yes, and I think we can hear Mark now. Mark, you just watched that press conference. You've been following the story since the get-go. What's your perspective on all of it? What's the legality behind this operation?
Well, the legality, I suppose, it depends on which people that are being targeted by ICE, and we just don't know that. As you've heard from a couple of the people there, we won't know who these individuals are for days or more, and so we're getting these pieces out by bit through families. And so we as attorneys have to take a look at these individually. There might be somebody with a valid deportation order who has a felony conviction, or it might be one of my clients is this 54-year-old woman who's been in the U.S. for 25 years, no criminal record at all, has a husband and 3 children. Why are they terrorizing a woman like that when she can't even be deported to Somalia anyway today?
So in general, if someone is detained, like what rights does the detainee have?
Again, it depends on the individual. One of the things that we as attorneys have been doing over the past few months, and we're going to see a lot of them in Minnesota, is if we believe that the government is improperly or illegally detaining them, then we will be filing habeas corpus petitions. It's the oldest right of democracies from 800 some years ago, and then we get to have one of our federal judges review that to see if the detention is lawful.
Mark, what's the process like once a person does get detained? Where do they go? What are the conversations like? Where do they eventually end up? And obviously, if they are here legally, do they just get released once that information gets found out?
They should be released, yes. But to answer the first part of that question, locally in Minnesota, ICE does rent bed space from a few of the local county jails, like Freeborn, Sherburne County. But what we are now seeing is they're going to be quickly shuffled off to some of the private prisons down in like Louisiana or Mississippi. And again, it will be days before we even learn that to know exactly where they are. And they're doing that because some of those private prisons are located in places that is deliberately hard for attorneys to get to.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there in the community that are very afraid and concerned and confused. And if those people out there, like if you have any type of concern whatsoever, what should you be doing to prepare for this possibility?
So we've been sending out, and a lot of nonprofit organizations have been sending out. They mentioned Immigrant Law Center, the Advocates for Human Rights, basically a Know Your Rights flyer. And it explains things both in English and in Somali. They actually have it in Spanish and multiple other languages about what your rights are. For example, if you are in your home, you do not have to open the door unless the ICE officers have a judicial warrant. They usually come with administrative warrants, and you do not have to open your door unless it's a judicial warrant, because that is a warrant that's issued by a neutral judge, not just some ICE officer that writes on a piece of paper that this is an ICE warrant.
Mark Prokush, you're an immigration attorney. We just heard from those government leaders at that press conference that these ICE operations are already underway. There was reports that they were happening over Thanksgiving weekend. Just during that press conference, there was one of them recited the story of somebody getting taken away from a hospital bed. Have you yourself had any clients in the Somali community over the last few days?
Fortunately, none that have been detained, but we've actually had, I think, about a dozen of our clients had ICE come to their door. And so we've been getting a lot of panicked emails and phone calls and texts. And I have to give a lot of kudos to my staff, because I was actually traveling yesterday. I was stuck on a plane while most of this was happening. And so it was my staff that was taking care of all of this.
Mark, now I know it just kind of basically happened, I mean, within the last hour or so. Mayor Jacob Fry, Adam just talked about it at the beginning of the interview. He put out an executive order prohibiting federal, state, and local agencies from using any city-owned parking lots, ramps, garages, or vacant lots to stage civil immigration enforcement operations. Just like your quick, off the top of the head reaction to that.
I like that because, again, we get to the question of what rights do the ICE agents have? And again, if they don't have a judicial warrant, then they should not be allowed to go into areas where they are not invited. And it kind of sounds like Mayor Fry is saying these people are not welcome here. And so I'm excited to hear that. I'd be curious to see the legal justification for that. I haven't read it yet, but I'm looking forward to that.
And we're being told, Fox and I wants to make sure everybody knows, we're not sure exactly how that executive order is going to be enforced, but it is out there from the mayor's office. Mark, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of Somali Minnesota residents out there that are probably nervous to go outside, nervous to be in public. Is there anything that you would recommend somebody that is nervous to be out in public, even if they are a legal citizen of the United States, what they should bring or what they should do?
Again, if they have any type of immigration document at all, then as some of the people you at the press conference were saying, it seems that part of this is targeted. They obviously were going to specific individuals. My clients, they definitely were going to their houses. But they're also just apparently just rounding up people who look Somali. And so if you have any type of immigration document, carry that with you. And I want to make a point of this too, is most of these people, most of these Somalis do have active applications going with Homeland Security because they're trying to get to that final legal status where they can then eventually become U.S. citizens. And so if Homeland Security wanted to see these people, they could just send them a letter, hey, about your application, why don't you come down to the office and so we can talk to you. This all seems to be purely about fear and terrorizing and wasting a lot of taxpayer dollars because they could do this a lot more efficiently without causing this fear.
Mark, maybe this is a dumb question. A lot of these, like when I see resources, obviously, being a black man in America, I see a lot of these resources too about how to handle encounters with different types of law enforcement, whether they be federal, state, local, or whatever. And I often see the kind of asking the question, am I being detained? And then you say, if not, then can you walk? Does that actually work? It feels like a little dubious. I don't know. I feel like the police are not just going to let you, does the am I detained, is that a good strategy to kind of go into an encounter with a potential law enforcement agent? Is that a good strategy?
If you're talking about the ICE officers, I don't really see any point to that at all. That's a great strategy, like when you're dealing with customs officers down at the southern border and you get stopped because, again, you have an interest in the safety of being in your own car. But if ICE, again, if they're targeting a specific individual, that I don't really see any point in that. They're going to, if they let you, or I'm sorry, if you let them into your house, or if they stop you on a sidewalk, they will detain you. And so I don't really see how that's very effective.
Mark, the Somali community, understandably so, is all in the headlines now because of this targeted sort of ICE operation. Are other ethnic groups that ICE may have previously had been targeting, do you see them as being off the hook right now in Minnesota, or do you think that everybody kind of needs to stay on guard as well?
I would say everybody needs to stay on guard. It seems that the MO of this administration is to, spend a couple of weeks on a topic and then move on. So, there was the fraud investigations by Homeland Security here in Minneapolis about 6 or 8 weeks ago. And then they went to Chicago for a couple of weeks. And then they went to North Carolina for a couple of. So it seems that they have a focus for just a couple of weeks and then they'll move on. And right now the focus is Somalis for, whatever political reason that the administration can come up with right now.
Mark, what are some good resources for those out there that are concerned or maybe are dealing with this directly?
Locally, as some of the speakers at the press conference talked about, Immigrant Law Center of Minnesota, the Advocates for Human Rights, those are top-notch nonprofits in the Twin Cities. Otherwise, the ACLU will always be a good research tool for finding how to help yourself out.
And that Immigrant Law Center Minnesota website is right there on the bottom of the screen, ilcm.org. Mark Prokush, we really appreciate your time. Thank you for being patient with us, and hopefully we'll get you back here on the afternoon shift soon.
My pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Ongoing story here, a lot developing, and we're just kind of witnessing it in real time like everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got you covered here on Fox 9 on all of our channels, linear, streaming, and otherwise. We're going to be covering this story wall to wall for sure.
Absolutely. We are going to take a commercial break, the first commercial break of the show today, as a matter of fact. So we're going to take a commercial break. We're going to come back with a little bit of a lighter news story. You may have seen on Instagram or other social media platforms the Spotify Wrapped. The drop day is today.
It's the Spotify Wrapped Day, a day that people wait for, all year long. It's been a tradition around these times for years now, and everybody's posting who their top artists and what the top songs are. And we took a poll around the Fox 9 offices. We'll share some of ours as well and take a look at who are the top streamed artists globally in the world. And interestingly enough, for the first time in 2 years, there's a new top artist around the globe.
Amazing. It's not the Beach Boys?
It's not the Beach Boys. It's not, spoiler alert, it is not the Beach Boys.
We'll be back with Spotify after this. are back here on the afternoon shift. It is Spotify Rap Day, Max.
It's a super exciting day, and it kind of is across all the different music streaming platforms now. I know Apple Music has their own similar version of it. Spotify kind of championed it, brought it into the cultural zeitgeist. But the YouTube music, everybody, we kind of, everybody's not all on Spotify around the Fox 9 offices, but we kind of unified the theme of it all to just find out what everybody's top artist is. I'm sure we'll share ours. Yeah. I can already guess yours. I'm sure your top artist list probably hasn't changed in like 5 years.
It hasn't.
I'm assuming I can name yours in the exact order. But I am curious to hear yours, Grace's, Paul's, everybody's. But first, let's hear from the rest of the Fox 9 officers about who their top artist, maybe even their top song is throughout the year of 2025.
Okay, Lori's looking at her Spotify
I've
rap
not looked
for
at
the
it
first
yet.
time,
Okay, ready?
very first time. Let's see.
You listened, we counted 55,000 minutes.
Dang. Okay, that's a lot.
Okay, we're dance, pop rap, soft rock, electronic, and country. Age is just a number.
62. That's pretty young. I was 69.
What?
That's the youngest I've seen, honestly.
Oh my gosh.
62.
Okay, what do you think?
Can you explain? Can you say it out loud for the people?
The other guy, Little River Band. Okay, that is not me. That is my son and my husband. This is my favorite song of all time. Duran Duran, not me. Stereo Love, good cycling song. Black Sabbath, I have no clue. That is not me.
That is such a
How
banger,
can this be my top song? I thought it would for sure be Taylor Swift.
This is everybody's reaction when they get theirs. I'm like, I don't know how they calculate this.
Hold on. Top
Taylor
album. Okay,
Swift.
there we
Okay,
go,
there we
girl.
go,
Top
there we go,
album,
there
Life
we
of
go.
a
That makes
Showgirl.
most sense.
Long live A$AP Rocky.
A$AP Rocky. I would not have taken you as an A$AP Rocky
and
fan.
Hans Zimmer.
Look at
Oh,
that.
wow. Look at that. Like, I have a very,
eclectic. Yeah, I like that.
Taylor Swift at the top of the chart again for me, 3rd year in a row, and I am ashamed to admit that Hamilton, like a toxic ex who I can't get rid of, slid in again at my 3rd top album. Sometimes I just want to rap. Sometimes I just want to rap, Max, and those are the only rap songs I know.
I'm so ashamed of you.
Top artist was John Bellion with his song Wash. It's on his album Father Figure. It's a great album. It's about parenting. It's about life.
Check that.
And the music's crazy. So.
You okay, Don?
That's me. Great.
I've got 5, obviously, like everyone else does. My top was Level 42. Now, a lot of people will remember them from the 1980s, right? But they still record and they still perform all over the world. They're an amazing artist, right? A group of artists, and they just kill it. But number 2 is a group called T-Lar. And you may have never heard of them. A young group. I like groups that are jazzy, right? This group is jazzy. They got a horn section. I love horn sections because I'm a brass instrument player. Couch, same thing. Very similar genre to T-Lar. A lot of horns in the background. Female lead singer like T-Lar. And then Strutman, the same thing. And then I've always liked the 1975, and I've always liked them. So those are my top 5s that I've got. And I was actually shocked to see that my age, 22.
You're way younger than me.
Go figure, 22.
I was 69. This is 77 year difference. 47 year difference.
Oh, come on.
It's crazy.
I know.
It's crazy.
I know. So 22 years. Yeah, I'll take it.
Spotify Wrapped, #1 song of the year. I don't think anyone will guess it. It's the most popular song maybe ever, and you probably hear it at least one time a year. Happy Birthday. It's played like 300 times because my kids like to play it about 20 times every single time it's anybody's birthday. There you go. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday?
Happy birthday is
number
crazy.
one?
He's got to be the top listener of Happy Birthday in
Is
the
it Stevie
world.
Wonder's Happy Birthday? Is it
Right,
like
is
a
it the
fun
Happy Birthday
Right. You kind of got a Stevie Wonder kind of look going
I kind of
on
do.
now.
I kind of got
Yeah,
like
yeah.
his 80s
Yes,
kind of
yes,
era.
yes,
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
The glasses, too.
Yeah, I kind of do. I appreciate that. That's a compliment of the highest honor.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
greatest living artist
Yes.
right now on the
No
face
doubt.
of the earth.
No doubt.
100%.
Oh,
But yeah, that is, he's got to be the only person outside of unless somebody's using their phone to when they work at Chuck E. Cheese or something and they're playing
Right.
Happy Birthday every day,
Yeah.
he's got to be one of the only people in the world that has Happy Birthday in their Spotify.
For
Wrapped.
sure.
Absolutely.
Happy birthday was pretty wild. The fact that your age is 69, you're older than a lot of of our colleagues here at Fox 9. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm curious about how they calculated the ages on some of this stuff, because for the longest time, like I said, when I interviewed Lori before I had interviewed Tim, when he told me that his was so young, I didn't see anybody under the age of 50.
Right.
I thought we were all just old, and then Tim comes in and he's like, I'm 20 something, and Mitchell's like, oh, mine was 18, and our fellow reporter Corn his was 21 or something like that. So it's like, wow, I don't understand how they calculated the whole age thing, but I know that is a new wrinkle to the Spotify Wrapped this year.
It sure
it's
is.
been fun. It's been fun. I know some people like to, I don't care about other people's Spotify Wrapped. I like to see what other people are listening to, and it's a fun conversational question. I've been asking people. I asked a lot more people because a lot of people are embarrassed by theirs, which is a funny concept to be embarrassed by the music that you like. But it's a lot of people. They don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But you learn a lot about people. But it's like, hey, the numbers are the numbers, and it's Spotify's. They've been a little bit more forthright this year about how they calculate those numbers.
Yeah.
But it is interesting. I think most people have that reaction that they're like, oh, this isn't right. You have an idea. You almost try to curate it in your head. You know, like you know the Spotify Wrapped is coming, and you'd be like, wow, it'd be cool if this was my top artist. And then you actually look at it and you're like, what? So it's an interesting day. You learn a lot about people and yourself.
Yeah, music is a very personal thing because you're just kind of got your AirPods in or whatever. And you're kind of going on your own flow, and nobody really knows what you're listening to. And so it's like you don't really have to share that with a lot of other people.
Exactly.
So,
it is it's like it tells your personality.
Sure
it's
does.
just like the same thing as the clothes that you wear and the words you choose to use. It's a very much a part of us in our modern day culture. It's a part of our personality, part of ourselves, our souls even.
Absolutely. Without further ado, I want to get your top 5 here.
I'm okay. My number one played artist. I am one of those people that I was like originally. I was like, I don't agree with this. So you take your empirical, objective statistics, Spotify, and you go to hell. Because I don't know if I agree with this, but my top played artist was a man named Playboy Cardi. You probably never even heard.
Never heard of Playboy Cardi.
Never heard of Playboy Cardi.
No.
He's an icon. He's an icon.
Oh,
he really is.
Okay.
For the last better part of a decade now.
Yeah.
He's been a top influential figure throughout the hip hop scene and otherwise.
Yeah.
So he came out with a new album this year.
Yeah.
I ended up digging a couple songs off of it. It was like 20 freaking tracks, but I only listened to like 3 or 4, and apparently that was enough to. I think mine is a little skewed because I switched to YouTube music halfway through. So Playboy Cardi was my number 1, but otherwise my top 5 is just classics. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, Conway Twitty.
Sure.
Yeah. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Hank Williams.
Hank Williams is for sure, 100%.
Loretta Lynn.
Yeah. Logic.
Yes.
Lil Dicky, that kind of stuff. That's usually. No, Kendrick Lamar was in there. Shout out to my dog Kendrick Lamar. MF Doom, R.I.P. to MF Doom, one of the greats. He's kind of was like the original underground rapper, but he got so popular that he's not actually underground. Yeah. But I was curious about mine, but I think the genres kind of matched mine more. It had rap as number 1, and then there was a Japanese city pop in there. There was Brazilian funk in there.
Yeah.
There was some pop music in there as well, and some house music. I got really into house music this year.
Oh. Interesting.
I realized like house music, aside from I feel like it's like the most neutral music. Like nobody's offended when you play house music.
Right.
Like if you play some rap, some people are like, hey man, I'm not trying to hear that. If you play some country or some EDM, I might tell you I'm not trying to hear that. Like I'm not a hater. I might be like, hey, this ain't the vibe right now. But you play some, nobody's complaining when you play some house.
Sure.
Sure. Everybody's just cool with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I'm at. I feel like my genres were more true to who I really am.
Yeah.
The artist. And I looked it up because Spotify they've been a little, duplicitous about how they crunch the numbers on this thing. But it said for your top songs, your top artists, it says right here, these are the artists who shaped your year. We show you your total minutes listened in global fan percentile. So it also tells you, because I know you got a different deal than Spotify. You got Apple Music. They have a similar thing.
Yeah.
But it tells you if you're in the top what percentage of listeners for the artist. I actually, for the first time ever, I follow someone on Instagram. They were the top listener of an artist.
Wow.
Bruce Springsteen at that. So not just like
that's a
not
diehard.
some nobody.
That's a
they were
diehard.
the top. I've never seen that. I've seen you're in the top 1%, 0.5%, whatever. They were the top listener for Bruce Springsteen. That's pretty incredible.
That is incredible.
Yeah,
that is incredible.
It tells you the numbers on your podcast and all that stuff. But I'm guessing that yours is going to be a shocker.
No surprises here. I can't.
Black Sabbath, Nirvana.
Yes, Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
The late great Ozzy Osbourne.
Right.
One of my favorites. The Beach Boys was my number one. But
Of course.
I wasn't the top listener of the Beach Boys, but
I'm surprised.
But I did listen to a lot of Beach Boys music.
A lot of Beach Boys.
Forever. That was my number one played Beach Boys song.
Wow.
Yeah, Forever. So, and the Sunflower album, track 7. It's a great album. Go look it up. Pet Sounds gets all the credit. Sunflower. That's the deep cut.
That's the hidden one.
The Grateful Dead was number 2, and then Steely
Dead,
Dan checked out number 3. But Prince came in at number 4.
Look at that.
I was listening to a lot of Prince when I moved here in January and February.
You were trying hard to fit in. To be one of us.
Tried to fit in, and then I just
see what the Minnesota culture.
No, I still like Prince. I like the deeper Prince cuts,
For
like
sure.
Pop Life and
Yeah.
I Feel for You, and everybody gets Kiss and
Of
Purple Rain, or
course,
whatever.
of
But the
course.
deeper
there's
cuts.
some deeper. I mean, he's a prolific artist.
Yes.
He's made music pretty much all the way up until his death. So he's
Yes.
got tons and tons of songs that people don't know. But he's got a song called "I Hate You." That's a banger.
Oh,
banger!
I've never heard that one.
I don't know who hurt him.
Yeah.
But if you listen to that song, you're like, damn. Somebody really hurt my dog Prince. But
Sheila E. was one of his people, and I got into her a little bit
Sheila
too.
E's great.
Discovered her through him. She's a Minneapolis gal.
She
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
She's great, but nobody's surprised. Beach Boys on number 1 on your list.
They're
They've
the
probably
best.
been number 1 on your list for the last ever
Yeah,
since you've been playing.
Last 3 years, best Christmas album out there. Go listen to it. You don't need anything else. Just go the Beach Boys Christmas album. Grace, we're very curious. What
gotta
round
be.
in your list?
I mean, it's gotta be Taylor Swift. It's gotta be Tay.
I wish I wasn't so predictable, but yeah, it's like my top artist is Taylor Swift. I've got SZA in there.
Yup.
Justin Bieber. Don't really know
Hey,
how that
the
happened, but I
Biebs.
do like his new album Swag. I do think it's a new sound for him, but it's good. And then Sabrina Carpenter. But what was so funny, we were talking about the listening age. You know, those artists, they're pretty young. They're pretty cool. I'm 23. My listening age is 78.
78?
I don't know how that happened.
How did that happen?
I do listen to a lot of jazz. Like that's probably, I have
that's
that
what
on in
did
the
it.
background. So I think that's probably it. But I think I'm the oldest I've heard.
No,
And
78 is pretty damn. I think
That's old.
on the Twitter I saw 86. That
Whoa.
was the oldest one that I saw, and I don't know if they're what the hell that they're listening to.
Yeah.
You know, so I have no idea, but 70 is pretty damn old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, how do they know what the age is? Like everybody, music is universal.
Yeah,
It's generational.
timeless.
It's timeless.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You can't put a stamp.
Can't
on
put
it.
a stamp on
You
that.
cannot put a stamp on it. But what you can put a stamp on is 19.8 billion streams. That's what the top artists globally raked in all throughout the
who was
world. That was one Bad Bunny.
Number one
artist in the world with 19.8 billion
Never guessed
streams.
that. I know he's doing the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but
and
yeah.
it's for the first time in 2 years, the top artist was not Taylor Swift. He knocked Taylor Swift off that list, and I believe the years preceding those 2 years, it was Bad Bunny as well. So this has been a long, dominant. This is not a flash in the pan. This is a dynasty.
If Bad Bunny walked through that door, I probably would not know.
You probably would know. I don't think we got a lot of Latino guys around the offices. You probably would know.
I probably would know that was Bad Bunny.
You probably would.
Mr. Bunny.
Yeah, Sir Bunny.
Sir Bunny.
Sir Bunny.
I guess we're going to find out Super Bowl. That's going to be a big deal for him.
Absolutely.
But apparently he doesn't need the publicity.
Well, and that's to all those people out there, because they were obviously it was very divisive. It was in the news for a long time. We like to make a fuss about little things like this, but those people like why would they pick Bad Bunny? I personally have never heard of him, so he's the most streamed artist on planet Earth. So that's why they picked Bad Bunny. No, it doesn't. I don't care if he was out there doing sign language for the damn performance. He's the most popular artist in the world.
That's crazy.
The whole
19.8 billion.
Billion.
With a B.
Billion with a B. Taylor Swift comes in second. The Weeknd in third. Drake Despite all the public L's and everybody declaring,
They all win.
Yeah, exactly.
They all win.
Yeah, his death has been greatly overstated. And Billie Eilish rounds out the top 5. The top streamed song. Very interesting. The top 3 streamed songs around the world for 2025. None of them came out in 2025.
Interesting.
I think actually, if you keep going down the list for the top 10, I think only one song from K-pop Demon Hunters, everybody's favorite movie from 2025, was the only one from this year. The top stream song this year was Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars' Death with a Smile. I'm not sure. Obviously, 2 very famous, prolific, giant icons in the pop music scene. I can't say I've ever heard this song.
No, I can't say I've ever heard it either.
And I'm not saying that as a badge of honor. I'm not one of those people that's like not updating. I'm like shocked.
You're right.
How did I not hear about these? Are giant artists.
Totally.
And Bruno Mars actually has 2 songs in the top 3. But Billie Eilish, Birds of a Feather, comes in at number 2. All these songs have over a billion. This Die with a Smile, 1.7 billion.
That's crazy.
Streams.
That's crazy.
Billion streams. Listen, there's a lot of all types of crazy stuff going on in the world, but this is the best time for music consumption because we can listen to everything, like you said, things from all the way back in the 1800s, if we want to, 1700s, as far back as music goes, and we can keep proceeding, reaching into the future with all this new stuff in 2025. And apparently, everybody's been loving music throughout 2025, and we're gonna keep loving music. It's a human thing.
That's right. What's up, Grace?
I have to report. Paul wanted me to let you know his top song.
Oh, okay.
What's Paul's?
Hot to Go by Chappell Roan, who is also his number 2 artist, and he's doing the dance in the background, doing a really good job.
We know the dance.
Yeah,
Paul taught us the dance.
Paul loves the dance.
Paul loves the Hot to Go dance.
He loves the
Hot to Go.
HOTTOGO. And I'm very curious how he learned that because he doesn't attend sporting events. And if you're curious, the top 5 songs in Minneapolis.
Okay.
They did regional. Luther by Kendrick Lamar and SZA, I believe, is the number 1 song throughout this year. Again, another 2024 song. Something Ordinary by Alex Warren. Grace, you might have to fill us in on this one. I can't say that I've heard this one.
You've probably heard it. I'm not going to sing it.
Oh, wait. I feel like can you give me one note?
Ordinary. I don't even know. Something about, I honestly don't even, I know it. Paul, do you know it? No, I know it. Paul doesn't even know it.
Paul's
a much better singer than I am.
Paul definitely knows number 3. It's Pink Pony Club.
Pink
Pony Club. That was his number 2 song. That was Paul.
Incredible.
So Paul's skewing the numbers here for the city of Minneapolis. TV Off by Kendrick Lamar is number 4. That is the infamous Mustang. You
missed that.
You've never heard that.
No, I must have missed that boat.
There's no way.
I did. I must have missed that boat.
There's no way.
I missed that boat.
That's crazy.
I missed that boat. I like the They Not Like Us and
yeah.
Dr. Blue.
That's off the same album.
Oh, okay.
GNX. It's off that same album. And then something called Sailor Song by Gigi Perez. NPRnews.org declares it a emo song.
Oh,
a goth song.
That's my kind of stuff.
So I'm glad. Yeah,
and if I read correctly, we're the only.
They used to have the lip piercing, lip ring, and the chains on the pants.
You know
all black. I mean, that's your vibe. The bangs and
all black.
That's
me. The boots. The boots with the fur. All of it.
All of it. That was you. We have to make you check for TV. You spruce it up a little bit, but off the air, that's
off the air.
What you got the spiked, wrist.
You can hear me driving out of the parking lot. Just the emo death metal coming out of blaring out of the speakers. No, it's good vibrations out of my car.
That's awesome.
Maybe we'll go to commercial break, and we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do next. Maybe play back a little bit of that press conference that we were hearing earlier today.
It's nice to take a brief little detour from the serious stuff going on, but obviously we got to get back to the capital and news because there's a lot of stuff going on in the Twin Cities that concerns a lot of our dear residents here in Minneapolis and St. Paul and all across the land of 10,000 lakes.
Absolutely. More to come from the afternoon shift after this.
Okay, Lori's looking at her Spotify rap for the first time, very first time. Let's see.
You listened, we counted. 55,000 minutes.
Dang. Okay, that's a lot.
Okay, we're dance, pop, rap, soft rock, electronic, and country. Age is just a number.
62. That's pretty young. I was 69.
What?
That's the youngest I've seen, honestly.
Oh my gosh.
62.
Okay. What do you think?
Can you explain? Can you say it out loud for the people?
The other guy, Little River Band. Okay, that is not me. That is my son and my husband. Oh, this is my favorite song of all time. Duran, not me. Stereo Love, good cycling song. Black Sabbath, I have no clue. That is not me.
That is such a
How
banger,
can this be my top song? I thought it would for sure be Taylor Swift.
This is everybody's reaction when they get there. So I'm like, I don't know how they calculate this.
Hold on. Top
Taylor
album.
Swift.
Okay, there we go, girl. Top album, Life of a Showgirl. Long live A$AP Rocky.
A$AP Rocky. I would not have taken you as an A$AP Rocky
and
fan.
Hans Zimmer.
Oh,
wow, look at that. Like, I have a very
eclectic. Yeah, I like that.
Taylor Swift at the top of the chart again for me, third year in a row, and I am ashamed to admit that Hamilton, like a toxic ex who I can't get rid of, slid in again at my third top album. Sometimes I just want to rap. Max, and those are the only rap songs I know.
I'm so ashamed of you.
Top artist was John Bellion with his song Wash. It's on his album Father Figure. It's a great album. It's about parenting. It's about life.
I'll check that.
And the music's crazy. So.
You okay, Don?
That's me. Great.
I've got 5, obviously, like everyone else does. My top was level 42. Now, a lot of people will remember them from the 1980s, right? But they still record and they still perform all over the world. They're an amazing artist, right? A group of artists, and they just kill it. But number 2 is a group called T-Lar. And you may have never heard of them. Young group. I like groups that are jazzy, right? This group is jazzy. They got a horn section. I love horn sections because I'm a brass instrument player. Couch, same thing. Very similar genre to T-Lar. A lot of horns in the background. Female lead singer like T-Lar. And then Strutman, the same thing. And then I've always liked the 1975, and I've always liked them. So those are my top 5s that I've got. And I was actually shocked to see that my age, 22.
You're way younger than me.
Go figure, 22.
I was 69. This is 77-year difference. 47-year difference.
Oh, come on.
It's crazy.
I know.
It's crazy.
I know. So 22 years. Yeah, I'll take it.
Spotify Wrapped, #1 song of the year. I don't think anyone will guess it. It's the most popular song maybe ever, and you probably hear it at least one time a year. Happy Birthday. It's played like 300 times because my kids like to play it about 20 times every single time it's anybody's birthday. There you go.
Welcome back to the afternoon shift. It's been a very busy day here covering this Somali ICE developing story as it continues to make headlines across the state and around the country.
Absolutely, not just a busy day for us. Obviously, a super busy day for leaders in the community and people having to deal with this directly. And some of those leaders of the community around here in Minneapolis spoke out about everything that's been going on with these ICE raids and ICE's presence here in Minneapolis. And we heard from a variety of different community leaders earlier. And I think we got some clips from that press conference.
I see. All right. I'll start. My name is Jaylani Hussein, Jaylani Hussein. I'm the Executive Director for the Council on American-Islamic Relations. I start, first of all, to share with you my story. My family immigrated here to Minneapolis, to Minnesota in 1993. We immigrated on February 16th. One of the coldest days of that year, I think, or at least to me. And we came here where there wasn't really that many people of color. But Minnesota, what I have found in Minnesota is, as my father says, we came to a cold place, but we found people with warm hearts. And now, 30 plus years later, I'm as Minnesotan as you can get. In fact, I was in a deer stand not too long ago. I did not get deer. But today we're standing because my community, the Somali immigrant community, and our broader immigrant community is under assault. Part of me says that we are under assault because we exemplify what it is to be an immigrant in this country. Somali Americans are hard-working bus drivers, engineers, doctors. We do the jobs that many people don't want to do. and we are in both the urban core and in greater parts of the state. We are and have been in this country for a long time. In fact, overwhelmingly majority of our community is actually younger children who are born here in this great state of Minnesota. What President Trump and most of the public who are attacking our community is not aware of is the success of this great community. And I believe personally that is why we're being targeted, and that's why we're being attacked. And to my beloved Somali American community who now feel the breath and the weight of this federal government dawning upon us with ICE agents now traveling in different parts of our city, I speak to you to say, number one, know your rights. Be calm, collective. This moment will pass. And not only will it pass, but we will come out of this moment stronger, more resilient. And for the first time, we will be sharing our culture, our incredible hospitality, our hard work, and the stories that we have kept so long inside of Minnesota to the greater part of this nation. And not only our food and sambusas and all the other things that we have will become mainline, but it will show the resiliency of our state and our community. In this moment, it is understandable to be frustrated and in fear, but rest assured we are here to let you know that we will prevail. To President Trump and the base that is attacking our community, we understand that you are here to divide us, to create fear amongst us, and to selectively target the blackest, immigrant, and Muslim community in this great state. President Trump has had a history of targeting black people long before he ever ran for any office. And we know that the identity of who we are is part of the attack, and also as being Muslims and being immigrants. In fact, we know in our community we have some of the smallest number of undocumented Somali Americans. Majority of us are U.S. citizens, even a majority of even that born in the United States. What we see today that's happening in Minneapolis is the authoritarian nature of this government and acting as a third world nation by targeting lawful U.S. citizens. We should be shameful of that. And we remind President Trump and the Republican leadership of this state and across the country, Somali Americans are not monolithic to any community. We vote for the Democratic Party, we vote for the Republican Party, and for the first time we saw a shift, not only in our community, but other communities who voted actually for President Trump. We want people to understand that our community is sophisticated, capable, and very smart. In fact, in this moment, we are calling upon our neighbors, those who we have built great relationship with, to speak up, to stand up, and to share to the rest of the country what it means to be a neighbor to a Somali American, to be taught by a Somali American, to be driven by a Somali American, and to live and see a world where Somali Americans are not just an asset, but an important asset to the future of this state and this country. I personally sit in this moment as President Trump continues to target us, and I see a moment of inspiration even in that vile hate toward our community. He is inspiring a generation of young people today who are on social media watching this and recognizing that his seat that he's sitting in as the President of the United States, he is inspiring a young Somali woman, a young Somali boy to become a President of the United States in near future.
That was a snippet of a press conference from the Brian Coyle Center in downtown Minneapolis earlier today, all about ICE targets against Somali Americans that are ongoing. And as they mentioned during the press conference, they were happening in real time during that press conference in the 3 o'clock hour.
Yeah, Jelani Hussein, Omar Fateh, among many others that spoke. And if you want to see the full contents of that press conference, you can check out earlier in the afternoon shift. You can go back in the stream and you can see that press conference in full in its entirety.
Absolutely. We want to give a special shout out to the immigration attorney that joined us today, Mark Prokush. He was very patient on the line and provided some great perspective after we got out of that press conference, and we're going to continue covering this story as it continues to develop.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not going to be a story that goes away. We've been talking about it for weeks, and it just keeps rearing its ugly head, ramping up more and more and more, and it's going to be something that unfortunately we're gonna have to keep talking about, because we got to talk about what's really happening, and this is affecting a lot of people here in the community in Minnesota.
Absolutely. We will most likely have more on this story and more on tomorrow's edition of the afternoon shift. We'll be back here at the same place, same time, Max.
We will be back here, same place, same time. Hopefully the YouTube chat is a little bit more positive. A little disappointing reading the YouTube chat, but we will be here regardless. With the 5 o'clock news is coming up next. Meet us back here tomorrow. I'm Max Fuller.
I'm Adam-llorens.
5 o'clock news starts right now.